Shrapnel.
Wagwan breadcrumbs. Hello, Craig.
Hello, Tobias.
How are you, sir?
I'm good. I have coffee and I'm ready to recast Superman with you.
Let's do it. Welcome, one and all, to a Film Shrapnel quickie. There's my theme tune. There's
That
my
will
theme
change
tune
every
for the
time.
quickie. Yeah, of course. Nothing's concrete right now, except Film Shrapnel. Excellent. Got the name. Still excited about that.
Yeah, still exists as it is with this name until someone copyrights it and we have to think of a new one.
Yeah.
But yes.
Welcome, one and all. Today, me and Craig are essentially reimagining Superman. That's what we think needs to happen. Needs to be reimagined. Go on.
Yeah, I was just thinking, are we reimagining Superman in his current state in the last few? Because now in my head, when I think of modern Superman, I'm thinking of Henry Cavill.
Of course.
But if I just think of Superman by itself, but maybe it's because I've seen more of the older films than the more recent ones, I'm thinking more like who was that actor who played him before, who had the accident?
Christopher Reeve.
Yeah, I'm thinking of when I'm thinking of recasting Superman in my head mentally, I'm going back to those older films from the 80s and stuff. So the question is, which Superman are we recasting here? Or are we making our own new Superman thing here?
Well, look, in spirit of our previous episode on Justice League, I think what we should do is, considering Superman is going to come into the public space in 15 years, and so anyone can do anything with Superman, I think it's an opportunity to just completely reimagine him. If we want, I mean, it's up for discussion. I mean, we're here. We're going to give ourselves 30 minutes to do this. So we've got 30 minutes to figure out whatever the hell we want. We might decide to just, go back to the old ways. We might do something completely new, or we might try and sway the current landscape of the DC universe in a different direction. Whatever it is, we're here to figure it out.
Okay. So basically,
what are you thinking then, Craig? You want to go back? You want to sort of as a sequel, or a sequel to the old films, or just set in a previous period? More in line with the comic book Superman. What are you thinking?
Well, actually, going back in time, maybe that would be pretty cool, because it feels like, I always say, and I know you probably definitely think the same way, but like Superman feels dated.
Dated.
Yeah. So maybe it should be set in the past. Maybe it should be
in the 30s.
Yeah. Or I also had another idea, an aged Superman. Many years later, he's kind of a bit past his time. Maybe he's got a bald head now, fat belly,
bald Superman. Superman.
He's
that your turn. No, he can't
retiring.
Go Lex. He can't have a Lex cut.
No, not a Lex cut. More like he'd have the top bald, but still have some hair on the side. This kind of Homer Simpson style.
Oh no!
Why not? It could open the doors to new stories. If Superman is old, he's on his way out. Someone new's going to come in, take over as the main superhero guy.
Well, so this is the question: are we wanting to sort of do a sequel, but I feel like what you're suggesting with like an older Superman, it's like a standalone sequel. It's not a direct sequel to anything that's come before, but everything that's come before helps inform where this character is, but it's not necessarily connected to the previous films unless you want to make it a sequel, or going back to the past. And that probably would be starting from scratch, making it more in line with like the golden age. So, the initial era of Superman.
Yeah, but I think if we did the old style, if we went back, firstly, it would be filmed like using the old technology, so it looks dated. And then, but we shouldn't just make it look too fantastic and lovey-dovey and, it's the 1950s or 40s or 30s or whatever. and it's a perfect time and everyone's doing great. You need some. I think you need to also be careful of nostalgia. I hate nostalgia. I don't like people who always think that
Yeah,
the
but
past was better. So it needs
exactly,
to be some dark
we
shit
we
happening.
can't look at the past with rose tinted glasses. If
Yeah,
anything,
yeah,
we need to find what happened in the past, which is relevant to today. That's what we need to do if we're gonna go with that.
yeah.
Um, I because I we've discussed this in the Justice League episode very briefly, but we both agree that Superman is too powerful.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever we need to do, he needs. I feel he needs to be depowered in some way. And obviously, if you go for like an older Superman, you have that. But if you went back to the sort of golden age of comics, if we went in the past, he like Superman, I don't think he could actually fly. I just think he could jump really far. I think that was the whole point. He could leap a building in a single bound. Or is that Spider-Man? I'm sure
I,
that was Superman.
I
I'm
think it is, and they added a lot more powers over the years. Then he had laser
yeah.
eyes. Then he had this and that.
So, like,
Yeah,
I'm suggesting, whatever we do, I think Superman needs to be less powerful, far more vulnerable. I think Kryptonite still needs to be his main weakness. I don't think you can rewrite that, but
I have
I,
another idea.
I
I'm
do
so
think he should be vulnerable. Go on, what's
yeah.
your idea?
I'm looking at like Axis now to get some ideas, and I just saw a picture of Gary Busey, and I was just thinking, what
Oh,
what if he
oh
had
my
another
God.
weakness? What if his weakness wasn't kryptonite? What if his weakness was crack? We shoot it in the 80s during a crack pandemic, and he's just addicted to crack or something, and they have to help him get off it to save the world or something like that.
But
No,
you know what? I kind of like that. I
yeah, I
kind of
kind of like it.
Because you know what? Once it's public domain, we literally can do whatever the fuck we want with it. We really can. And we could have Superman on crack. That could be a thing.
That would be kind
That's
of
it.
scary, actually. It
Yeah.
sounds funny, but it'd be scary. Could you imagine, like, he's on
A
withdrawal or
man that power.
something?
Yeah. A
Yeah.
man powerful, like on withdrawal symptoms. Boy, like it could be insane. You could. Oh, it's a horror film. I think it'd be interesting to make Superman a horror film because obviously they're making Winnie the Pooh into a horror film, which I
Hmm.
think is such a unique. Like, I'm gonna watch it regardless of my friend being in it or not. I'm gonna watch it, but I'm gonna ask my friend if she wants to get on the podcast. By the way, I'm gonna
Yeah.
name. I'm not gonna name drop her yet, but yeah, I'm gonna. Hopefully, I will ask her. But we need to get this out there first because humble listeners, we're not currently uploaded episode 1 yet. So, you've got a bit of catching up to do. But yes, since they're redoing Winnie the Pooh as a horror, I do think it's worth considering a genre change.
I actually, when we watched the Justice League, I really liked it when Superman was bad.
Yeah.
There was two moments where he comes back from the dead, and he doesn't know who he is. But now I think about that, that was kind of weird. Why doesn't he know who he is?
Well, he's been
And
dead a
then
while.
true, true. But then he suddenly remembers when he meets what's her name, Lois Lane.
Lois. Yeah, well,
Uh,
he loves her.
yeah,
Blue
I don't
Ball.
know. I think
Blue,
I'd
Blue
also remember
Ball.
Batman if he tried to kill me as well.
Yeah, but I feel like Blue Balls saved the day there. He does remember that. In the Justice League cut, he does actually reference a line that Batman says in the previous film, but they cut that because it's not very funny. It's not very good. It's meant to be a good line. Anyway, so we could make Superman bad. And I like Superman bad. We've seen a bit glimpses of it. It could be really good if we make Superman bad.
Yeah. Shall we give it a go? Should we give because you know what, I'll tell you this right now.
Oh, what if Superman was racist?
That's also very interesting.
Because he is like, if you consider that he was around from the 30s, it wouldn't be difficult to imagine a Superman with old-fashioned values if you had aged him up, if you have
Yeah.
allowed him to age throughout the years. Or maybe Superman doesn't age as fast as normal people, but
I would say that that's getting a bit similar to the characters from The Boys, Homelander, and
yeah.
what's his name? The
Well,
other
but
guy.
Homelander's like sort of got a god complex and is like a bit mentally ill. But like you could literally just have Superman like as like you know. I know plenty of people when I've met their grandparents. You know, I've been like, I don't, that's a bit of a old mindset. Like I don't like hearing stuff like that. But
Mm,
definitely have Superman somewhat like that. But yeah, I suppose you're right. I do think the boys has it covered. You are
yeah.
right. We are getting that elsewhere. Hmm. Well, I still quite like this aged up Superman though,
Shall we try
or
to
at least
cast an aged up Superman?
I think Gary Busey. I think you got it, man. I think like certainly like yeah. I think we're back to crackhead Superman. I think you're right. I think you're right. That could be really good. I've often thought because there was rumor that they were going to recast Superman with a black actor, and like I'm not sure how much of that was true or how much of it was just like Facebook, just pushing random articles. But I saw it online, and I thought Will Smith before slapping
Mm,
Chris Rock would have made a pretty good Superman. I
yeah,
like I like Will for that.
I could also see him fitting in there perfectly as well. I was actually just thinking about what if they cast him in a different race, because why
Yeah,
not? You totally could.
I think Will Smith would be really, really very good as Superman. But I don't think you could cast him now, not after Chris Rock.
No, he's also getting a little bit old now. I think he's getting close to 50. Maybe he already is
I
50.
think
I'm not
he's
too
already
sure.
50, but even so, he still looks great. Like, you
Yeah.
know what? He looks incredible. I wish I looked like that when I turned 50. Believe you me. I wish I looked like that if I turned 32. Like, Jesus, he looks amazing. So yeah, I still think he could play it now, but yeah, not with the current controversy.
Yeah.
Who else? Uh, I mean, if you aged him up, like what if we have a Superman that's let himself go a bit? Like he's just maybe he's like a little bit bummed out because he's been saving people for years and he's just still stuck. Like he the daily what is it? The Daily Planet.
Yeah.
The Daily Planet, like it's like we could have him like moaning, and it's like there was no room to work my way up. It's like the whole business is like a bungalow. You hit your head straight away when you walk in through the door because there's no movement upwards. Can't get a promotion. Blah blah blah. So he's all disenfranchised about being Superman, not getting any reward for it. Like maybe he's still not with Lois Lane. He's like, so he just stops being Superman, or maybe he doesn't stop being Superman, but he becomes complacent and lazy, gets a beer belly, and starts like stops working out and shit. And I suppose that's the Incredibles, though. I had
Doesn't
this whole,
something similar
I
happen
had
to
this whole
Thor?
idea. Yeah, thought, yeah, you're right. Oh, fuck, I thought that was really original for a second there, and then I realized I was doing Incredibles, and then you pointed out that I was doing Thor as well. Shit. Fuck. I had this whole idea in my head, and now you've really thrown me off it.
I'm
I
sorry.
was I was gonna keep rolling with that. Oh shit. Oh, okay, yeah, fair point. I don't want to copy Marvel. We got to make this original. I want it to be totally unique. And it's got to be, for me. Like I say, I'd really like to revamp the whole thing. Like I would love to take away a lot of his powers. You know, super strength, yeah, but I think he shouldn't be invulnerable. I think
I,
he
yeah.
can't take a huge beating, but kryptonite will make him. I reckon kryptonite depowers him completely, but in his Superman, like top at Superman's top form, he needs to still be vulnerable a little. He can't be perfect like he is.
Yeah. And I was also thinking two things just popped into my head. Could we make it so like when he's Clark Kent, he at least doesn't look so much like Batman just with Superman just with glasses? And another thing I remembered as well, I
Mm,
remember when they first started promoting Man of Steel years ago.
Right.
and they said something about how they wanted to modernize it a bit at the time, and they were talking about how newspapers were in decline, and now everyone gets their media from the internet. And I'm wondering, like, I don't did they really explore that properly? Because that is still a good idea, like especially now, like the Daily Planet probably wouldn't be a newspaper so much now, but more an online thing. And so you could definitely
Yeah.
probably have like that in the modern world. Or maybe if he's an older
Well,
Superman,
they're
he's
sort of
probably
doing
behind with these things.
they're sort of doing that now with the Daily Prophet with the Spider-Man films.
Ah,
They're like a sort of uh, conspiracy news site on YouTube
huh.
instead of a newspaper.
Hmm. There's definitely a lot of room there, whichever
Yeah,
way you
there
want to
is.
take it. If you want to go back and give it a new spin, or if you
Mm.
want to take it forward, uh, yeah, you could definitely do that if you wanted to. We could make two movies. We could cast him twice
Ooh.
in a revamped old version, and another time in the future. And we can maybe do crack one as well. Although I think Gary Busey has that cracked up
Well,
Superman.
how I feel like we should focus on just one, but like, I because if we do like because both of them are very very separate tones. We've got cracked out Gary Busey in the future, and we've got like a more authentic Superman from the comics. So and then we've also got old man Superman as well. Yeah, we've got three ideas here. Which one do we want?
Let's maybe do let's throw
We
some names for today's Superman. The first one, like I just like this list of names that just randomly. I typed in craziest actors or something just to see what came up. And the third
crazy
one,
actors. You want a crazy
craziest.
actor?
Nah, just for ideas, just for ideas.
All right, go
Uh
on.
and the third one on this list I see is Christian Bale, which I could kind of see as
I
Superman, but
mean,
I he's a bit
he's.
past it though.
I mean, look, he's an excellent actor, but I mean, I don't think he has the right. I was going to say he hasn't got the right physique or the right frame, but we know that Christian Bale, he wouldn't let that stop him. He would get into whatever physical shape you need him to be in.
Mm-hmm.
Um, However, I don't think his face really rings Superman to me. Certainly not after seeing him as Batman. Like I feel like it's too much. I feel like you couldn't have the same actor playing Superman and Batman. Like,
Yeah, maybe.
he's gotta stick. Like you can't have you could don't be greedy, Christian. I don't think Christian would ever consider playing a superhero again.
Probably not. I
No.
think he's had his
He
fun
he
with that.
already he already played the coolest superhero. So, you it's only a step down from Batman. He can't be Spider-Man. So that's it. It's only down to go from those two.
Christian Bale as Spider Man would be very weird.
Could you imagine? Oi! Let's do Spider-Man instead. Fuck Superman. Do Christian Bale Spider-Man. Christian Bale Spider-Man, and he's like older and he's got his own company. And
Yeah.
he's becoming a bit too capitalist. He's starting to screen all of the crimes that he will go and deal with. He'll only go with like the more important ones. So he's not the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man anymore. That'd be pretty cool. Anyway, let's carry on with Superman because I could talk about Spider-Man for hours.
Yeah. Okay. An older Superman. How would you imagine Jack Nicholson as an
I would
older?
I would not. I would
No.
not.
If
I
he's old and he's past his
I
time, he
I
doesn't give a
think
shit anymore.
I think Jack Nicholson would make an old Lex Luthor.
Really?
Well, can you
Maybe.
not
Yeah.
imagine it? Could you not imagine him as Lex Luthor with his eyebrows? It's like, now it's time to get super. Oh, he's already been the Joker, though. Again, yeah, no, we can't have Jack Nicholson either.
No.
He's already the
Okay.
Joker. Shit, though. I do like Jack Nicholson, though. But what about is Clint Eastwood still alive? He must be.
Yeah, but he's in his 90s, must be.
Yeah. So this is it. We go really old. We go senile Superman.
He was born in 1930 and he's still alive. He's 92, he must be,
He's
right?
92. Yeah, 92. Because of the Queen died the other day, and she was 96, and she was born in 26.
Mm.
So yeah, he must be 92. Well, I could see him as an older Superman.
But you know, that's just not an older Superman though. That's like I need my walking stick Batman. This is like I'm on I'm not so much I'm on my way out, but I'm on my way to the old people's
Well,
home.
funnily enough, Darren Aronofsky, when he wanted to make a Batman film, he wanted Clint Eastwood to play Batman, and this was the early 2000s. So Eastwood would have still been like in his late 60s, early 70s.
Mm.
He was like, he's perfect for Batman. He was like, Clint Eastwood is Batman in Dirty Harry. If he was like, imagine Dirty Harry in a bat suit. That's that's the Batman movie I want to make.
How I could imagine
So
it.
he could be the Batman of this universe, Clint Eastwood, because he's
Yeah,
aged faster.
that works. That does
Yeah,
work. I think if we did cast him as Superman, it would be like way, way, way in the future, like 200 years in the future.
yeah.
He really doesn't do anything anymore. People just like, I don't know, look up to him, ask him for things, you know. He's seen as like an important figure. But like this is a very different DC universe. 200 years in the future, who knows what could have changed.
All right. How old's Anthony Hopkins?
He's also must be in his 90s, I think.
It's pretty
Or
old,
at
right?
least let's find out. Hopkins.
Sorry, Anthony.
Oh, he's 7 years younger. So he must be 80 something.
85.
Yeah.
Okay. Still probably a bit too old.
Yeah. I think if we need an older Superman, we should look for someone who looks in their 60s to 70s.
Brendan Gleeson.
Brendan Gleeson.
Brendan Gleeson.
I struggle. I can't. I don't know if
Brendan
I can see.
You know what though? Isn't it kind of obvious? I feel like it'd have to be like Stallone or Schwarzenegger or Jean-Claude. You know, isn't it obvious that it would have to be Stallone, right? Because he's the only American. It'd have to be Stallone. Because I don't think the American market would accept a non-American Superman.
Yeah, but that's
Although
the thing about
Henry
Superman,
Cavill
though.
is British.
Superman landed on Earth from a spaceship from another planet. Like,
yeah, but he is an
story,
all,
isn't it?
yeah, absolutely. But he is an all-American hero. But you're quite right, and Henry Cavill is British, so you know. But he can put an American accent on. I don't think Arnie can, and I don't think Jean-Claude can. Maybe Dolph Lundgren. Or Dolph Lundgren as old Superman. Oh, I really like that, actually. I really like that. Dolph Lundgren. Right. I'm locking that in. If we do Old Man Superman, I think Dolph Lundgren.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. He
And
was the Punisher, though.
If we do geriatric Superman, we have Clint Eastwood.
No, Clint Eastwood's Batman.
Ah, okay. It does feel better, yeah.
Oh, we do Batman v Superman, but they're old. And they're just like, they're just fighting over, like, you know, some food at the retirement center in the Justice League headquarters. They're just like slowly slapping each other like that's my applesauce. That would be geriatric Superman and Batman.
And it'd be really funny if you could somehow make that become like the beginning of a bigger story.
No, we're not really doing that. We're not really doing that. But I do think Old Man Superman could work. But what sort of themes would we roll with it? Because if we're not going to do sort of old fashioned mindsets bleeding into like compromising sort of modern attitudes for a superhero. That could be really interesting, and we haven't really seen that. Like for a hero that wants to be a good hero, who is, you know, who always saw himself as a beacon of influence to other people. Like this is how everyone should be their own hero, sort of thing. And then as time has progressed, where we get to sort of like, I don't know, Me Too movements, or let's say Me Too movement, like there's no way that he would have gotten together with Lois Lane, the way he would have done in the 40s, if you get what I mean. Like just attitudes were different back then. So you could and I think that would be interesting, how someone who does see themselves as a beacon of good and righteousness doesn't understand the world he's fighting for anymore. I do think that that's an interesting concept.
True. And although I agree with you, it keeps making me, what you're saying just keeps making me think of
The Boys.
Because it feels like they're already taking it in that direction. Can we talk a bit about Henry Cavill for a second?
Yeah, go on.
So, you know what? I think it's really hard to recast Superman, because I think actually Henry Cavill is a very good fit.
I think so too. I think he's done a really good job.
Yeah, like not only does he look like Superman, he's a very tough looking guy, and he's also a massive nerd, from what I've heard as well. He really likes his nerdy shit.
Well, now that you're saying all that, I've just thought of Clive Owen as a sort of slightly older Superman.
Clive Owen, sometimes he grinds on me a bit, like the way he talks.
Oh, yeah? Yeah, but he'd be doing an American accent.
Yeah, I know, but it's still him. It's still the way that he talks.
To be fair, I do think I do really buy Henry Cavill's American accent. I think it's really strange when he speaks in his normal voice.
I actually didn't know that he was British till about 2 weeks ago.
Really?
I thought he was American, yeah. I didn't know.
Yeah, he's an English lad. Yeah.
From the Channel Islands, though. He's from Jersey.
Is he from Jersey?
Yeah.
Or is it Guernsey?
No, Jersey. He's from St. Helier, which is the capital of Jersey.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, it would be difficult to recast him because he is kind of perfect. But that is, of course, assuming that if we're going to do a sequel, of course, there's no question. But I think it's worth starting from scratch with someone new. I still think Nick Cage would make a great Superman. I'm a huge fan of that. Well. I'd love Nick Cage as Superman. It'd be perfect. It wouldn't be. It'd be awful, but I'd love it.
But what would be good to see, because Nick Cage, although we talk about him being a crazy guy and acting quite eccentric at times, but he can, because we did our whole double feature thing of, what did we do?
Lord of War and the good one, Connor.
Yeah, and then we did freaking, what's it called? Oh my god, how can I not remember anything?
Vampire's Kiss.
Yeah. So as we've seen, he can actually do quite straight acting anyway. He's not completely sold to just being a crazy bastard. Yeah. And what would be interesting, if he did play Superman, if he ever played Superman at a point where he's losing control somehow, some kind of mental control. And he could also do a very crazy, psychopathic, scary Superman as well.
You could buy Superman having a mental breakdown if it was Nick Cage playing him.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think the problem, I don't think people would buy the universe in which Nick Cage plays Superman. But you know what? I am so on board with it. I am so on board with Nick Cage as Superman. You have no idea. And I would love that sort of Nick Cage losing his shit, but as Superman.
Yeah.
Doing his little voices. Yeah. God, I'm the son of a god. Yeah, man. I'd love Nick Cage as Superman. I really would. So what, are we just going to go for Superman having a mental breakdown Nick Cage movie?
Well, I think what we've kind of stumbled upon quite early on is that how we cast Superman Depends what we want to do with him.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. So if it's Nick Cage, mental breakdown, Superman movie, we just do Vampire's Kiss again.
Yeah, could you imagine Vampire's Kiss, but it was Superman?
It would be amazing. It would be amazing. Oh, if it's no, that what if we just do what? Hang on a minute. That's actually a good idea, though. What if you do a guy who believes he's Superman?
Yeah.
He's just a normal guy. He's just a guy that one day woke up and decided he was Superman.
Yeah.
And you just parody the whole thing. But it would actually be kind of heartfelt and sad, I reckon.
But we could also have it, because what I quite liked about Vampire's Kiss is how his mental breakdown made him quite a horrible person.
Yeah.
And
so we'll see. This is still a bad Superman. It's still a bad Superman movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. That could work. That would be fun, wouldn't it?
50, it would be fun. But we are basically, we're literally remaking Vampire's Kiss, though. But I do like it. I do like it. Or what if, because you like Henry Cavill, so what if Henry Cavill one day wakes up and thinks he's Superman?
Yeah.
So it's Henry Cavill playing himself, thinking he really is Superman. And it's like, well, he's got video evidence of it. He's literally seen himself flying around. So he's like, I'm convinced. I believe it now. I can see that's me. That's Superman.
Yeah, but you could easily prove him wrong by, look, yeah, that's you, Superman there. Okay, but here you are here doing an interview about playing Superman.
Yeah, but that guy's got a different voice. That guy's English.
Oh, so he wakes up and just starts doing the Superman voice, not even knowing that. Yeah.
He wakes up in character and never breaks character.
Yeah, and then could you imagine he's going to the Witcher set, and but he's playing it as Superman, and he doesn't understand why he should change. But
I'm Superman. Why would I be this guy? I'm Superman.
Yeah.
Sorry, I wasn't doing the Superman voice. But yes, I think that might be quite worth pitching to Henry Cavill. I think Henry Cavill would actually be like, I think Henry Cavill has a sense of humor enough to go for that.
Would it be a comedy 100%, or would it be a little bit
more
comedy?
A bit more like Vampire's Kiss. You want it to be a bit darker, a bit more on edge.
I do like dark shit, but I also like funny shit as well. I like it when it's mixed very nicely.
But well, this is the thing. I think we'd like dark Superman, but how would? Okay, I suppose this is the story then that we're doing now. I feel like we're talking about it too much. Go on then. So what? So like, we need a reason for him to be bad, like, because if he thinks he's Superman, then he must be a good guy. And I reckon Henry Cavill's a nice guy in real life. He seems that way. So, we need to have a reason for him to be an arsehole in this movie.
He must think that one of his bosses is Lex Luthor.
Oh, he's undercover. He thinks he's undercover as an actor called Henry Cavill.
And he's wearing glasses as if he's Clark Kent.
Yeah. So and he just comes off as a total asshole to everyone. Everyone's like, fuck, Henry Cavill's a bit of a dick. And then he's like, I got all the information I need. Now it's time. And then he sees Amy Adams at a party or something, and he's like, Lois, you're here? And she's like, Henry, what are you on about? Like,
she's super confused, and then maybe she could be with someone. I don't know if she's married or someone.
And he thinks she's cheating on her. Yeah. He thinks she's cheating on him, and so he's like, maybe he tries to laser him because he's not powered. Because he's not powered. Yeah, he just starts looking at him like all angry. Yeah, and everyone's like, fucking hell, Henry Cavill's such a dickhead. Oh, that would be amazing. Oh, can we? Is this locked in? This is the movie that we're writing now, isn't it?
Yeah,
This is it.
yeah.
This is it.
I-
15 years from now, we can actually make this movie without getting sued. That would be insane.
Yeah, it would be very funny. But there'd have to be a point also where he realizes, why are my powers not working? You know, what's going
Yeah.
on?
He goes to the North Pole. He's like, he's got to go to the North Pole to find the Fortress of Solitude. But he just like, oh, what could happen? He gets attacked by a polar bear, and then we actually reference the Superman movie that never got made with Nick Cage, where he has to fight a polar bear. Boom! Oh my god, this movie's amazing. I honestly love this movie. I would pay money to see this movie right now. Hollywood, Warner Brothers, listen to me. You could actually do this now because you own the rights. So you literally could do this right now. Warner Brothers,
while Henry
my
Cavill
word.
is still young as well.
What? Yes, while Henry Cavill is this age, come on, Warner Brothers, hear this podcast. Can we make this movie for you, please? This actually could be brilliant. It's and you know what? We gave ourselves a half-hour limit. We're a little bit over, and we're still going, but we've actually got a pretty funny idea out of this. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like it. Do you want to like flesh it out a little bit more? Like we've got. We give it 4 more minutes before we hit 40 minutes, and then we'll give it a cut off.
Okay. I think if we did this one, we'd have to give him a reason. What could have happened to him? Did he have some mental break? But is it a mental breakdown? There needs to be some.
Well,
if that is it,
what,
needs to be.
What if it's what if it's a form? I mean, what if it's a form of like amnesia? So he's forgotten Henry Cavill. He's forgotten Henry Cavill, but he can remember Superman. But it's a bit cheesy. It's a bit 90s, sure. But I think this is already tongue-in-cheek enough that we could go a little bit stupid with it.
I think it's all right. I mean, there's lots of ideas that sound stupid when you first hear them, and then you watch them, and the execution makes up for it. Like, could you imagine, like, Breaking Bad at the time?
Yeah.
Chemistry teacher makes meth with a former student. It sounds very stupid, but then when they finally put it together, it was pretty awesome. So,
yeah, that's true. I mean, we could even make it as cheesy as him literally getting hit in the head with something, you know, like it could be that cheesy, but but yes, I think you're right. We need some reason. We need some reason where, that this has happened to him, and he is just, he's walking around thinking he's Superman, and he doesn't know why he's not got, I think he should only find out he's not got his powers when he's at this party being a dickhead to everyone. I think that would be really funny. So he thinks that, what if he thinks Zack Snyder is Lex Luthor in disguise? He thinks Zack Snyder's Lex Luthor, and because everyone's like hating on him, maybe he sees like a tweet on Twitter like saying Zack Snyder's ruined the Justice League. He is basically Lex Luthor, and so he thinks, this Zack Snyder guy, he's the reason why the Justice League aren't together anymore, and he must be Lex Luthor. That'd be quite funny.
Yeah.
Oh dear. I can't get this image out of my head of him just like really angrily looking at people because he's trying to laser them. I just think that's so funny. Yeah. Okay, so how are we going to end it? Is he going to get his memory back? Is he going to become Henry Cavill again, or does everyone just sort of like accept it and play along for him? And then it's just the guy, and then he's basically just the guy in a street going shoo shoo shoo, and everyone's like, "Yeah, Superman!" And like they just walk by, like, "Oh, don't mind Henry Cavill. He used to be an actor, but now he's mental." Oh dear, that could be funny and quite sad as well.
You could do both of them.
Maybe the whole film is from Henry Cavill's perspective, and then the last shot of the film, we realize he's just like a nutter in the park, just going shoo shoo shoo, running around like fucking Al Gore from South Park. It's just that he's just that When you take a step out, it's just Henry Cavill's high in a park. Oh, that'd be really funny.
I
Yeah.
think you need a bit of an ending, kind of similar to. Uh,
Should he get superpowers? Should he just become Superman?
Also possible, but I think maybe that'll be taking it too far. I
What, too
think,
cheesy?
yeah, I think what you need is. Bear in mind, now I'm starting to think of Birdman. Did you watch Birdman?
I did watch Birdman. It's brilliant.
Yeah, I'm thinking a bit about that now. Actually, no, you can't do that because Birdman did it. How he's
Yeah,
being
exactly.
haunted by himself.
This is it. We can't just do Birdman again because
No,
this is dangerously similar, but it's already original enough that it's not a Birdman ripoff. Now that you
yeah,
mention Birdman, I see the similarity, but we are so far it's still original.
yeah.
So let's not go too Birdman with it. Let's
Well,
keep Birdman in mind though, just in
yeah.
case we do say something too similar.
I'm
Because he
thinking
doesn't get
that
superpowers at the end. I still think that he just jumped out the window
I
and
think
he's
so
dead.
too.
Yeah, I don't think
Uh,
he's Birdman. He's just
I
Michael Keaton.
I think for this film you'd have to take it slow. So first he's acting a bit strange. He thinks he's undercover. Then slowly, think it starts to become obvious that something's not right with him from other people's perspectives, and maybe he could save someone somehow. He needs to have some moments that kind of reinforce that he thinks that he's correct.
Of
Uh,
course. Of
but
course.
by
But
the
maybe because he, isn't currently dressed up as Superman, he still has to pretend to be human. So
yeah,
he just jumps and like catches something or whatever, I don't know. And it's just it's a very medial thing to do. But like he thinks it's I'm Superman, but it's a super
well,
medial thing.
sometimes when you think you're really good at something, or when you
Yes.
think that you have when you're really confident, it does help some people do
Sure.
stuff that's a bit,
Like
that's kind of
like
impressive.
like psychosomatic strength. Yeah.
Yeah. So we could play
Yeah.
around with that. But I think
Mm.
what should happen by the end of it is all these
Oh, but
crazy things going on in his head will come to a kind of uh what am I trying to say? They will eventually become a problem, and like they all come as one thing, and we'll see everyone sees a bit like how what am I trying to say? In Vampire's Kiss, how he gone like how the end he just finally just went off the rails. So I think
Yeah.
that there should be a kind of off the rails moment also with this. Not stealing too much from them, obviously, but you know what I mean. It has to go somewhere,
I mean, because we could have an off the rails moment, but like, I would quite like to end the film with maybe he just carries on thinking that he's Superman disguising himself as Henry Cavill. And so now everyone knows. So it's like you watch this movie and it's like every time you look at Henry Cavill, it's like he's actually Superman. He's just playing the role of Henry Cavill. Look, his off the rails moment could be his lack of powers but confronting Lex Luthor vis-a-vis Zack Snyder. Yeah. So like when he confronts him, it's like, but he'll be like, yeah, you've taken away my powers. I don't know what you've done. I don't know if you have some sort of kryptonite ray or some shit, but whatever you've done, now we're just on equal footing. So it's just a fist fight at the end of the movie between Zack Snyder and Henry Cavill. just a full on fucking fist fight, and you get Zack Snyder to shoot it. Like this is the only scene of the movie where it's like we want Zack Snyder to be the director for this scene, and we just have Zack Snyder and Henry Cavill in the best fight scene Warner Brothers has ever committed. It will be epic.
It should also be
epic.
a bit
like I'm thinking like John Wick kind of fighting. We get the guy in who did John Wick to direct it, like to choreograph it, and I'm imagining Henry Cavill and Zack Snyder getting thrown through like glass shit, and it's just like broken glass fucking everywhere, and it's like fuck, and it's like this really fancy office or something. You just do John Wick 3 at the end.
Yeah, I think we should probably wrap this up now.
Yeah, we need to wrap. We've
We're
gone over
15 minutes over.
Yes. So to summarize, what have we got, Craig?
I think that we've recast Superman as Henry Cavill.
Yeah. So, kind of crazy that the whole purpose of this was to revamp Superman, and it's become this sort of meta commentary on Superman instead.
Yeah. I think there's always a possibility of doing it when you try and recast things. And I think we've also discovered that if we wanted to recast Superman, it totally depends on what we want to do with the story, because there's so many ways we could take it.
I have one massive suggestion for the fight scene, though.
Yeah.
So obviously Superman and Snyder specifically gets a lot of slack for making Superman a Jesus allegory, which I think is, it's prevalent in every Superman medium, but Snyder gets the slack for it. So what if during this fight scene, so we've not had any Jesus iconography the whole movie, and then in this fight scene, Zack Snyder has his Jesus moment. So it's not Henry Cavill, it's Snyder. Like, maybe Henry Cavill hits him and he's just sort of laying on the floor in perfect crucifix position, and he just sort of stands up, and it's like, we're not finished, and they keep fighting. I feel like Snyder needs to get his own Jesus moment.
Somehow he gets his own Thorn of Crowns as well, or something along the way as they're fighting. Henry Cavill smashes him up against, it could be Christmas. What was it? Those wreath things. Somehow one ends up on his head or something. Yeah.
Oh, that'd be really funny. Yeah, I love it. So sorry, let's keep recapping. So we've got Cavill. He wakes up one day for I don't know, he gets hit in the head. We haven't figured that out yet, but he gets amnesia of some kind. He only remembers he's Superman. And he's an arsehole.
Yeah, because he thinks that he's undercover as Henry Cavill.
Yeah.
To get Lex Luthor, which is Zack Snyder.
Zack Snyder. Lex Luthor is Zack Snyder in disguise.
You could even have a bit like maybe after they fight or before they fight, where Zack Snyder's like, you do realize like how batshit crazy this is. Like, like if Superman is going undercover as an actor to meet me, who is, I don't know, something about how it doesn't make any real sense. And, or maybe that could even start the fight scene. I don't know. Yeah.
It's like, you can't use your conversational kung fu skills against me, Lex. Conversational kung fu. That's another podcast in of itself. Let's write conversational kung fu.
Maybe we named the podcast that.
Conversational kung fu. I quite like it. All right. So Henry Cavill thinks he's Superman. Total arsehole. Has a fight with Zack Snyder. That's it in a nutshell. That's our movie. And I actually feel like it's worth, one day we might do a part 2 for this podcast where we actually make it a proper movie. We'll actually structure it, get everything proper refined. Maybe it's worth having a discussion later about it, Craig. Maybe we'll come up with a few more.
Maybe we don't release this podcast and we need to trademark this idea before someone steals it.
Do you reckon? Well, I think Warner Brothers already has it trademarked. But we could pitch this to Warner Brothers. Please, Warner Brothers, hear this call. Hear this message. Coming out to you. Me and Craig have just come up with the best Superman movie ever made. Please let us make this movie. It's a no-brainer. Henry Cavill comes back as Superman. It's a no-brainer. Everyone wins.
It does. They do.
Yeah. All right. I think that's time to wrap up, guys. So, final thoughts. Superman isn't a dead IP yet. There's still room. You can do stuff with it. And
but you have to be brave to make changes.
Fear not.
Though.
Have to be brave to make changes. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think there are plenty of decent ideas. Obviously, there were a lot of jokes being flown around in the last 50 minutes. But I do think if anything's been proven, There is a lot of scope for the character. Certainly, if you change a couple of small elements, certainly if you depower him, I think that's the most important thing. You've got to try and find a way to make him not as powerful as he normally is. You know, that's when he'll become compelling. I think that's pretty much my main thought for this last hour.
Yeah.
So
Nice,
we've made Superman compelling. Thank you for coming out, Craig. And
No worries.
thank you, humble listeners, for coming out. We are Film Shrapnel. Craig, I love you, baby.
Thank you. I like to be loved. Don't forget to say knees.
Yes.
Film knees.
Keep it knees, guys. Keep it knees.
Keep it knees.
Much love. Till next time. Keep it knees.
All right. Bye.
Bye, guys. Bye.
Film Shrapnel.